There's a test. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4.
To the May 5th, 2020 meeting of the Clark County Fire District 6 Board of Commissioners. We have Commissioners, myself, Losbeck, and Commissioner Collins and Pfeiffer here. We've got Chief Maurer, and we have Secretary of the Board, Dave Taylor. That's who's on board, and we are going to go ahead and start the meeting and call it to order. And I will ask for any additions to the agenda.
None here.
Okay. We need to read and approve the minutes of the April 21st, 2020 regular meeting and board workshop.
Make a motion to approve the April 21st meeting minutes and post.
Second.
Okay, moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, gentlemen. Any correspondence?
None. Excuse me, none.
Okay. Citizen communication. This is the part of our meeting we set aside that if folks have any questions concerning Fire District 6, they can ask them. Since we're actually streaming this, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask them on the YouTube. Anytime during the course of the meeting, we'll come back to that and answer those for you. So if you have questions, let us know. Community reports, health and safety.
No report.
No report. Parade is canceled. Risk management had no report. Triple FB had no report. Okay. We have a consent agenda. Number of calls report.
So one thing I would like to draw to the board's attention is we are about down 90 calls from this time last year. However, year to date, we're at the same number of calls. So that to me shows that we're still increasing call volume, even though with COVID we've seen it decrease a little bit.
Okay.
Good thing. Okay, I need a motion to accept the consent agenda.
Move for approval.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Moving on to Chief's report, facilities project update.
Thank you, Commissioner. And for that report, I'll turn it over to Chief Newberry.
Hello.
Hello.
Welcome from sunny 179th Street. As you have read probably in my memo to Chief Maurer, we are continuing to have the contractors work on the sites, practicing safe work habits with social distancing and masking up anytime they're with others. They check in at the station entrance before they go in, and we're keeping an eye on that to make sure that they're doing that correctly, and they're doing a good job, actually. As far as Station 62 is concerned, there's most of the punch list items have been corrected with the exception of a couple of electrical items that had to be ordered, and of course everything that's being ordered is on delay, so we're waiting for some parts to come in to fix some lights. But other than that, the only thing that's outstanding is that PT room floor that we've been having trouble with, and Chief Maurer and I are dealing with the contractor on that now. We received an artwork proposal from the work group for Station 62. We just received that this week. So the chief will have to review that, and we'll select some art for Station 62.
Chief?
Station, yes, go ahead.
Commissioner Collins here.
Hi.
Can you elaborate on the floor at 62? What's the issue with that?
So the PT room floor is a rolled down, glued down rubber floor that was installed in phase 1, and to protect that floor, the contractor put down an adhesive film on it, and where they peeled that adhesive film back, it left a glue residue, a sticky residue. They have been in that space at least 4 times, and I think it's been more than that, but 4 times that I can count on the calendar to try to clean that adhesive off, and they've been unable to. So the chief directed me to have them replace the floor, and of course, while we've been in this kind of lockdown, we've not had contractors come in unless it was critical, but now we've opened that back up. So we're currently debating the contractor's currently debating whether or not that floor needs to be replaced or if they can take another crack at cleaning it. So I've asked him for a written plan on how he's going to resolve this and what he's asking for, so that I can present that to the chief and we can make another assessment on that.
Okay. Is that a concrete floor in the truck bay?
It's in the old meeting room or the old training room. That area has been remodeled for the PT for the exercise area, and yes, it is a concrete slab with this glued down on top of it. It's rubber floor.
I don't fully understand it, but I'm sure you do. So, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Station 63. As you know, we had the card reader island put in. They did a really good job on that. I've been in communication with the card reader company that installed the card readers, and that's supposed to be programmed tomorrow. We'll see. They told me that once before, and they weren't able to do it remotely, so we're going to try it again tomorrow. So hopefully tomorrow morning we'll have that gate operational so we can secure the back of the station. The IT work is complete, the audio-visual in particular, the training room and the conference rooms, and the vendor has been in and done a train-the-trainer session with our training division. And with just one small exception, it's all raring to go, and the crews have been using it, or the trainers have been using it. It's really a great addition. Interiors. Candace, our interiors partner, she has installed almost all of the furniture and has a few things scheduled, I think, for next Wednesday, where she'll finish the installation of the furniture. There was some things that were damaged. She had to a reorder, and then there was a few additional items that we ordered, some cabinets and things for the trainers. So she'll be back to have that finalized next week. And then the phase 1 artwork proposal is in. The chief, I believe, is presenting that to you tonight for. I shouldn't speak to that. I believe that's ready to be approved.
That bill is in the board package.
Okay, thank you. And then, as far as concrete is concerned, that's obviously on hold until the train tower is started. I saw you drive through the other day, Casey, on your motorcycle. You must have seen the pit in the back where they've formed up the base for the footings for the train tower. They poured that yesterday, just after I wrote this memo. But rebar and everything was set and poured yesterday, and so yeah, they're getting the grade right now, and we are finalizing some drainage, and things are looking good to go.
We got favorable weather for sure.
Absolutely. Landscaping, hydroseed, and hand seeding was completed last week. The sprinklers are on, and it's about an inch tall right now. The fueling station we put on hold, as I've mentioned before. We've only received one bid, plus the fact that the chief has instituted a discretionary spending policy. We've just decided to put that on hold until further notice. And if and when we decide that we're going to move forward with that, then we'll have to go out for additional bids.
I support that wholeheartedly.
The new projected date for completion of the train tower is July 16th. They're moving gangbusters up there. They did run into one little hiccup when they found a underground fuel tank that had already been decommissioned, but they still have to deal with it. But we don't expect any significant delays.
Hey, Sean?
Yes, sir.
Special aspect here. Are we moving forward on the sign monument?
Yes, we are, but I think it's Vancouver Sign they've been out of commission.
Okay.
I'll get in contact with them as soon as they put people back to work, which I'm hoping will be soon. So.
Okay, I just want to make sure we're going to go forward with that. So thank you.
Yep. The change order spreadsheet has been updated. It's in your packet. And I can answer any questions that you might have.
So, board, if I could add a few things. We were fortunate that our former chiefs, Chief Taylor and Chief Green, carried over some of the budget to cover all these expenditures. I have to say that I'm really proud of Chief Newberry that this entire project's only coming in 5% over budget so far, which is great. And what we have in the remaining line item of our budget for the buildings for these overages, we anticipate will be covered. So we have a $1.8 million buffer there, and a generous estimate from Chief Newberry is $1.2 million. So we're comfortable that we will be able to cover those overage costs. And at this point, the project's 97% completed. And then just to reiterate what all the assistant chiefs have been doing, balancing COVID with trying to keep these projects going has been amazing. And Chief Newberry getting these stations up and running with COVID happening at the same time has been awe-inspiring, to say the least. And, it's unfortunate that he completed a project to this scale and we haven't been able to celebrate it with COVID-19, but I'm sure we will in the future.
Thank you.
Chief Maurer?
Yes.
The discussion we were having with the business association, is that a reasonable expectation that we may be able to gather, prior to August, to do some sort of ceremonial cutting? Is the tower going to be up and ready to be seen, by the business leaders?
We anticipate the tower to be up mid-July, but as you know, with every part of this building project, those deadlines, we haven't seen them come to fruition at those deadlines. However, it will all depend on what the governor says about crowd gathering. You know, if we still can't do more than 10, then we need to push that off a little bit longer. Like I said, the Colombian came in today and took pictures. We had one photographer, masked up, temperatures taken. So we're trying to get that out there to the public as much as we can. And I know Dave Schmidtke is working on a virtual tour type of deal for the station to show to the public. So I can't guarantee that this summer we could have a business association get together, but I know that that's important, and I know a ribbon cutting is important, and we're all disappointed that we couldn't do that with the grand opening.
Yeah, so we'll find out later, but anyway.
Yeah.
I had
on
to
the
ask
radar.
that. You're very well aware of the desire.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, do we have anything else concerning facilities? If not, we're going to move on to personnel action report.
So, Commissioner, the personal action report for this month is short. Again, there was Chris Bottomley's trial service period for captain. He completed his trial service period. We've had a few captains that have done a temporary appointment and then gone back to full-fledged promotion, and Chris Bottomley was one of those. He's been with us for a total of 7 years, and all of staff is very impressed with what Chris brings to the table, and we know he will continue to be a great captain for us in the future. The other one is Chief David Russell completed his 1 year of service. When we reflected back on what Chief Russell has been through since he started here, I don't know if you remember, but he started in negotiations when we were going to mediation. Yep. And now he's a leader in the department. His energy and tenacity and perspective he brings to this department, not only to speak to his personal attributes that he brings. It seems like crews have connected to him, staff has connected to him, the community has connected. So good pickup, and we're glad to see Chief Russell complete his first year.
And I heard that he's providing a lot of input countywide with the fire departments as far as the whole COVID-19 thing, as I've heard good things from other departments about him. So thank you, Chief Russell.
Congratulations, Chief Russell. Thanks.
Okay, you want to give us, unfortunately, the COVID-19 update, Chief?
Yeah, it seems like everything today is COVID. So the update as of today is positive tests in Clark County are 367. Number of deaths are 21. And we've tested 4,735 individuals. Legacy Salmon Creek has one COVID patient and none in ICU, which is good news. And Peace Health has 26 COVID patients and 7 in ICU with 4 on ventilators. So far, Clark County has had only one EMS provider test positive for COVID-19, and that was not from our department. We had 2 employees that we tested that were negative. So total statewide in Washington, 834 deaths, 15,185 positive tests, and over 200,000 individuals have been tested. We have 2 care facilities, which, as you all know, those have been the hot spots in the COVID outbreak that have had COVID positive cases. One's Manor Care and one's Highgate. Manor Care had 1 case, Highgate had 25 cases, and so far 9 deaths. As you know, we do our Wednesday night drive-bys. Last Wednesday night was Highgate in order to support those personnel that are working through that issue.
Saw it on TV.
And I should tell you, with anything as tragic as it is, there's a cost. And the total cost we spent on COVID-19 since March is close to $16,000.
Thank you. I think that's an important figure for us to be aware of as we go forward. So if you could give us an update on that, maybe once a month or something, Chief, I think that would be beneficial.
I will.
Thank you. Any questions on the COVID-19 from any of the other board members?
No, thank you for the update.
Well,
We're moving on to budget performance report.
so at the second meeting of every month, I'm supposed to give a budget performance report. I told you guys last month we were waiting for some other numbers from the county. When I looked at that budget, it was concerning because we had spent what we would anticipate to spend at near to that. But I took out a couple factors that we were fortunate enough that, again, previous chiefs had budgeted for. So when I took out what they had carried over for the increase in the building cost and what they carried over for the SCBA purchase, it sent our expended budget to 19.4% in fire and 20.9% in EMS, which is where we would expect to be. So I just wanted to give the board that update that although year to date we look like we've expended much more, some of that was carryover that we had the opportunity to spend.
That makes me feel a lot better, Chief. I had some concerns about that, and I think we're just about where we need to be, and continue that forward to the end of the year, and then we have the appropriate carry forward to get us through taxes next year. And hopefully, tax-wise, between our carry forward and what we're getting from the county, do you see any problems with funding until the treasurer decides to make folks pay proper taxes?
I see caution with funding, so okay. I don't see issues that are glaring, but without knowing exactly what they will collect, I see caution.
Okay.
And hence that's why we did the discretionary spending freeze.
Okay. And we're pretty conservative, so we appreciate that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any budget questions from the board?
None.
No, that was on the tip of my tongue. I thought the numbers were low as what the county treasurer said that was held over in escrow. I was really surprised that number was so low.
But 33% is hard to believe.
Yeah,
I would agree. 50. And both Administrative Assistant Tina Menslinger and I questioned the county on it, and then I confirmed with Clerk and they were getting the same estimate of escrow payment. So, yeah, surprising, but it seems to be true.
Well, the people moved out. I think the deadline has been extended with grace to June 13th or something like that. So I don't know how long after that date that we would get a second round of funding.
I know the departments up north, we had a board meeting, the departments up north, King and Pierce County went till June 1st because they have bond payments that they have to make, and they have to have that money for a June bond payment. So that's what the treasurer did up there for them. Mm-hmm. I think ours is June 13th or 15th. I can't remember.
Yeah, I thought it was 13th. I was on the county website today looking at taxation and some other fun facts. And anyway, I just want to know how long after that date we can actually collect the money.
You're bored. Okay.
We'll find it out.
Operational adjustments, Chief.
So, Chief Russell, with that outside perspective, is always looking at ways to make our department better. We've had an anomaly where personnel have not been taking their vacation because there's no vacation to take with the COVID-19 outbreak. So what that does to our department is it increases our staffing on a daily basis. So Chief Russell saw that increase in staffing. He recognized that was going to be an issue into the future, and so what he decided to do was open a second squad up in the Station 6-3 area. So we're using what we used to use as Squad 151 is now Squad 6-3. When we have over a certain number of personnel, he opens up Squad 6-3, and that responds out of the 63 station. So when we're overstaffed or we have more than minimum staffing, we're a 3-engine, 2-squad response model for a fire service agency.
Have you seen that cutting down on the need for, for instance, a Station 1 unit to respond to backup Station 3? Has that helped in that process?
So if you would hang on just a second, Commissioner Losbeck, I'm going to add Chief Russell to this call and he can answer those specifics.
Because I'm really curious about that. I think it's really a good thing.
It's going to help build our future deployment plan for sure.
Good.
Okay, you should have Chief Russell on the line here.
Okay. Oh, sorry, Chief Russell. I asked the question and you ended up having to get involved. But
all right, I caught the question.
Okay.
And to my knowledge, we haven't had any of the 61 units have to go up and cover any calls for 63. I can confirm that again tomorrow. I was able to sit down with Captain Simica today and pull some data from ESO, and we're kind of sorting through that. We've only run it a handful of days, and call volume has been down, so it's kind of been hard to assess any sort of trends. But I'm certainly hopeful to see with that additional squad unit available. Obviously, it's going to help with the back-to-back call volume from 63, and then it should just work additionally in order to increase their response reliability from the engines, and overall it should have a decrease in our response times overall.
That's really good stuff. And if you would keep us kind of up to speed as you get more data,
Absolutely.
I think that's important. If we aren't having to run an engine from Hazelville all the way to Salmon Creek to back up the engine there, first of all, we're wear and tear on the apparatus, and secondly, it stays in its area so it can respond to calls also. So good choice, good decision. Thank you very much for doing that.
My pleasure.
Casey or Chris, you have any questions for Chief Russell on that issue?
No, not Chief Russell, Chief Maurer. I have a question in regards to vacation time. Don't people put in for bids for time off, and has that been deviated because of the COVID?
Yes, sir. They do put in for bids for time off, but they can cancel those bids the shift before they're supposed to work. So that's what we're seeing is, of course, with no one being able to travel spring break or any time now, when the majority of personnel would have those vacation days planned, they've canceled them in order to work. And that's kind of what we expected to happen.
I just didn't know if that would turn into a staycation instead of a vacation, but it doesn't to put undue burden on the department for people not taking the vacations, and then they're going to want to take them later when it frees up. I mean, I just didn't know how you're looking at all that.
Well, there's parameters on the length that they can take them, so they can only bank so many hours. So there are potential that if personnel cancel vacation, they could lose that time. And honestly, in COVID, we had no idea what was going to happen. So to be overstaffed, it feels better than to be understaffed, because we were concerned that we may lose a whole company at once. So they still are limited to how many people can be off. What's happening now is we're having more people on, so we're figuring out a better deployment plan to put them on. It won't change in, say, July, the state opens up. It won't change the amount of people that can be off. So it will still be the same amount of people that we've always had off and covered.
Okay.
So long story short, no changes to the CBA regarding vacation time.
Okay, great. I'm sure you had it under control. I just didn't fully understand it. So thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Assistant Chief Russell, step increase. Chief.
So as I reported in the personnel action report, Assistant Chief Russell has completed his first year with CCFD6. And I said he's been a great addition to our administrative staff and to the department in general. We're glad to have him be part of our Clark County Fire District 6 family. And more than that, we're so glad that the board was able to see the need to hire 2 assistant chiefs at the same time. I think in doing that, and the wisdom of your decision in doing that, we were able to create this very cohesive team that works well together. So with Chief Russell completing his 1-year service period, he was hired at step 2, I would like to move Chief Russell up to step 3.
And your recommendation is to do so, Chief?
My recommendation is to move Chief Russell up to the next step after his first year of service. Yes. Okay.
If any of the commissioners have concerns and want to review and evaluate Chief Russell, we can go into executive session. If not, we can accept Chief Maurer's recommendation and have her move forward with his step raise.
I'm totally comfortable with that.
Yeah, I would agree with the other two commissioners. I would support Chief Mauer's recommendation, and I think Chief Russell's an excellent addition to the fire district.
Roger
Okay,
that.
Chief Mauer, you got it, Chief Mauer. You can go ahead and do that. We don't have any concerns over it. We appreciate your recommendation.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Anything else under Chief's report?
No, sir.
Okay, we're moving on to old business. Any old business? Is that where you have future workshops? I don't. Is future
Well,
or is that
future
new
workshop, it's just kind of a standing item on the agenda.
Okay. And I wouldn't anticipate having another workshop for a period of time. It's much easier to have workshops face to face, unless there's coming up in the near future like apparatus replacement, something that you want us to discuss, something like that. We can do that without having to do a full workshop. And I know that with the COVID, trying to finish the strategic plan has been difficult and time consuming, and we certainly don't want to push you on that. So unless either one of the board members want to try to do a workshop via YouTube, I think we should put it off for a little bit. How do you two feel about that?
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with your recommendation, Commissioner Losbeck. Unless the staff has a need for us to conduct a workshop, that seems reasonable to do.
Okay.
I agree.
Thank you, gentlemen. Is there any other new business, old business, or new business?
Just talking about when's the next time we're going to discuss the material that we have for our lid lift. There's an update on that.
You should have gotten the you should get the info that the chief is sending to CCFD 6 on an email that had the flyer attached
Yep.
to it.
Yeah, I got that. Yep.
Commissioner Collins, did you get that?
I did. Corresponded back and forth with the chief about it. I just didn't know if we were going to have a discussion in around about that as that gets closer, and didn't know if that would be an agenda item at all, or we're just going to do what we're doing now. And
If I may, Board Chair, I actually had that under good of the order. I just wanted to notify the board that all the lid lift information that is necessary to go to the elections office went to the elections office today and was accepted.
Okay, that's where I was looking for.
Oh, okay. I think you both know, but there's kind of a group that was set up to work with Liz Loomis as far as the presentations go, as far as putting the FAQ together, those sorts of things. I sat on that on behalf of the board, and I can tell you that, especially with the COVID, I'm very pleased that we brought Liz and AJ on. I think they've done a really good job. I think the brochure that's going to get mailed out, I think about the middle of July, is very good. Chief Mauer is going to be working on a video that will go on our website and Facebook explaining it, since she can't get out to the neighborhood associations. They can watch it on there. I think everything's been real positive. Unfortunately, they were all ready to go out into the community and meet with groups and make presentations. That hasn't happened, so we relied on Dave Schmidtke a lot, and I think he's just really done a good job through this whole thing, and I'd like to put out a thanks to him. He's put a lot of time in on it, and they've been well received. We have a lot of followers and a lot of people watching, so we can do an update, like at the next board meeting, whatever your pleasure is. But I think things are going as well as can be expected.
Good. I just knew there was a hole there because we hadn't talked about it.
Yeah.
Thank
And
you.
obviously, if you have questions, you can get a hold of Chief Mauer or myself, and between the two of us, we should be able to answer them.
Oh yeah, she's been thrilled. No.
I'm happy to.
Okay, now we'll do roundtable good order for anybody that has anything out there.
So if the board chair doesn't mind, I have a long list, and the reason being is that in times of COVID, our pub ed has been off the hook, and this is good stuff.
Go for it.
Tomorrow night, we will do the Wednesday night drive-by at the Safeway stores, both in Salmon Creek and Hazeldale. We've been hitting grocery stores mostly, although last week we did do a drive-by at Highgate to recognize the issues that they're going through with their COVID-positive people. And I will say we've had off-duty personnel in their personal vehicles. We've had Hazeldale Business Association people. We've had C-Tran. People just really want to join in these Wednesday night drive-bys. So it's been very exciting that we're doing that.
Excellent.
In addition to that, we're doing on Thursday at 10:30, we're going to do a Lakeshore Elementary parade. We've done them once before, but it's an opportunity for teachers to drive by their students. They pick a route, and we send an engine into that parade. Other thing I wanted to comment about is if you guys saw the YouTube video on Abby Davis. She was a patient of District 6. Great YouTube video, and Abby has followed up with both Chief Newberry and I, and she's looking at doing some kind of, I don't want to say memorial, but appreciation at the Station 3 facility. And so Chief Newberry's working with Abby to do something with that. She's also a middle school teacher in our district, so it makes it even more special.
Great,
and if you don't know, she was a code save patient.
Great.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, it's sometime I'll tell you the whole story, but it's pretty amazing how lucky they all were. So
Well, our guys witnessed it, right?
they did witness it. Yeah, it was a witnessed arrest, and
Crazy.
they brought her back. So
Nice.
great call, and she's been since then so appreciative of the fire district and wants to keep giving more.
Wow.
The other thing is thank you for our Scott SCBA purchase this month. We're rolling out the Scott SCBAs. It's difficult rolling them out with COVID, but the training division with Chief Schmidt has a plan to do them in small group training. And we will have those new SCBAs that are state-of-the-art rolled out by this summer.
Very good.
Excellent.
And then two more things. So we had all the awards nominations for Firefighter of the Year, Officer of the Year, as well as any awards that personnel wanted to nominate people for. We've accepted those, and we're working on a program to roll those out. It will probably be similar to Captain Bottomley's swearing in and our new personnel swearing in. Unfortunately, with COVID, we can't have big parties, but we don't want to delay these important milestones in careers. So we're working on a video or some type of outlet for that. And then the last thing I want to say, this is on a more personal level, but I have to say that the ops chiefs of Clark County, the fire chiefs of Clark County, and the EMS people have been doing an awesome job with COVID. My brother's a police officer, and he didn't have they just don't have quite the support that we all do. And I think our chiefs are doing an amazing job working through this problem.
Great.
That was all I had.
Great news.
Other anything else from the board members?
Nothing additional.
Okay, I
Nothing
think
for me.
you covered it for me, Chief. That video with Abby was amazing. She knew the folks' names that were involved. She knew what they did. It was just it was amazing, and I'm glad that she did that, so we didn't have to worry about HIPAA.
That was all, I think, Bill Dunlap and Dave Schmickey. So they put that together. I didn't even know about the call until I saw the video. So it was very inspiring.
Good. Well, I just want to say that staff and personnel are doing a great job through this time, protecting themselves and protecting our citizens to the best of our ability. I know several people that work at Fred Meyer's or they work at Chinook Elementary, and the drive-bys are very much appreciated. People remember that for a long, long time. All that stuff's very important, and just keeping everybody safe and as healthy as we can. And we do appreciate you all.
Absolutely.
Okay, with that said, we need to authorize payment of current bills, authorize monthly commissioner compensation, and I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, gentlemen, and the meeting is adjourned.
Thank you. Good night, everybody.
Thank
Aye.
you.
Great.